Hi guys, today I'm showing you how to craft large cluster jewels. Usually when you craft large cluster jewels, you want 8 passives because it saves points. If you had 12 passives, you would have way more pathing points. So most builds use 8 passive jewels, and you usually also want 2 notables as a prefix and 1 notable as suffix. This is because in most cases, when you have two prefixes and one suffix notable, you would have like the prefix and the two prefixes on the front and the one suffix on the back, pushing them so that you don't actually have to travel like this and take the node on the back. Usually, the third node is like a filler node that is only used for pushing them in front. But in some cases, this is not possible. Like, for example, here's Snowstorm and Blanketed Snow. If you want both at the same time, I don't think it's possible to push them in front. I tried a lot of combinations, and I don't think it's possible. Um, so how do you check if your cluster has the good nodes in the front or in the back? What you can do is you go on path of building, and you open the trade search. You can copy items from people that they have listed on the bottom left here. You just click on copy item, and then you just paste it in POB. You create custom item and then you paste it here and save, and you just add it to your build. You allocate the points and you can see where each node is. If you actually have a clustering game and you don't want to spend points to allocate and stuff, you can just Control C on your item and paste it in path of building in the same method that you just did. So let's go over some clusters. The first ones are bows. There's not many good notables for bows. The only one that I found a little useful was this one, Arcing Shot and Arsing Shot. Feed the Fury and a random thermod to push them in the front. These are pretty cheap. I wouldn't be crafting them if I were you. I just added them as an option. The really good ones are the cold damage ones. Okay, so the utility of large cold clusters is insane. Like Blast Freeze as an AoE freeze of 12 radius. Vengeful Commander makes you into pretty much an aura stacker if you like stack them in every large. And Snowstorm is insane for conversion, and Blanketed Snow is just straight up really good for pen. So if you look at some searches of these, they're actually really expensive because so many people want to use cold large clusters. And for example, Blast Freeze for utility AoE freeze, Vengeful to scale your auras is 2.5x. Blanketed Snow and Snowstorm with widespread to push them in the front. Actually, you can't push them in the front, but still, if this is basically a 2 mod. The third mod doesn't really matter, and it's 5x. And there's only one at 5. All the other ones are like 6 and above. And Snowstorm Vengeful is like 2x. And I recommend crafting these. How you craft them is probably reroll cold or reroll lightning. They all have cold and lightning tags. Or if you really want, you can use fossils, freezing metallic, uh, craft over no PoEDB large. Sorry, PoEDB large clusters. We can see the tags. I forgot to do this in advance. Cold notables. Yeah, so we want to look for blast freeze, which is cold tag. Snowstorm is a lightning tag. All the good mods have cold and lightning tags, so just reroll cold, reroll lightning until you hit the good mods you want. Uh, Another good one I found on. I actually looked at this one from PoE Ninja. I already knew about the cold ones because I played a lot of cold conversion builds. About chaos ones, I looked at Toxic Rain, and most of the people were playing Unholy Grace, Wicked Paul, and Unspeakable Gifts. It's just sorry, Wicked Paul and Unholy Grace with a third random mod, and I just added Unspeakable Gifts because it's exploding and it's pretty good. So if you look at these, they're like 6 exalts each for like a chaos duel, and it shouldn't be too hard to roll, I think. And you can just do real caster, real chaos, because if you look at here, chaos damage mod, and you look at misery everlasting, it's a caster mod. So this is misery everlasting, unholy grace, wicked Paul, misery everlasting caster, wicked Paul is chaos, and the last one unspeakable. No, sorry, unholy grace, wicked Paul. Wicked Paul is a chaos as well, and unholy grace is caster. So caster is really easy. Like it's so easy to roll this on caster. I think the weights are not terrible either. There's no 97 weight mod. They're all like pretty easy. Uh, Another cluster I really like is the lightning clusters. I use these a lot because right now I'm playing a Stormbrand Elementalist, and what I'm using is Storm Drinker for pen, corrosive elements to apply exposure uh, to proc Mastermind of Discord, which is another 25 extra. And since I'm playing Stormbrand, this is pretty much applied to everything I hit because it hits so fast. So everything is exposed. And my Mastermind of Discord is procced on them as well. These are 4x each. And also, you can use a Scintillating Idea, Storm Drinker, for a lot of pen and any other third notable. These are should be also a little bit expensive, yeah, around 2x. And this is for power charge generation. Since Elementalist doesn't really have a really good way to generate power charges unless you're power charge stacking, and then you can use power charge on crit. You can generate power charges by using Storm Rider, gain power charge on when you shock a shield enemy. This is pretty good, and you can gain lightning as extra cold against shield enemies. This is pretty good as well. And the last one is No Storm and Vengeful. This is probably one of the highest possible damage combinations if you don't have an Aura bot, because if you have an Aura bot, you don't need to go for Vengeful Commander. And yeah, this one should be kind of expensive because yeah, it's around 2x. Yep. So how you roll these lightning ones are you reroll cold, reroll lightning with harvest. For this one specifically, because Storm Drinker has a defense tag, because lightning damage leads as energy shield. It's a defense. So for this one, you can also do real defense and real cold. So if you had lightning clusters, I would do real cold, real defense, real lightning. Or if you want to craft them, you can do frigid, metallic, or dense, uh, or any combination of them. Just check Craft of Exile to be sure. Um, Good notables for minion clusters are Renewal, Vicious Bite, Primordial Bond, Rotten Claws, and Feasting Fiends. So this is like super meta right now. Everyone's playing this. Burning Arrow Elementalist uses this cluster. It's a two mod. A two mod duel is selling for like 3x, 2.9. This should be really easy to roll, just using reroll life. So if you look at minion damage, Feasting Fiend is life. Sorry. Primordial Bond is life and is the main mod that you want. And the other mod is Renewal, which should also be life tagged. Renewal is also life tagged, so it should be pretty easy to roll. And because there's only 3 life tags, there's reroll life or reroll life plus, and it should be pretty easy to roll. And there were 3 exalt each. You can probably print them in harvest. You can get multiple a day if you just run harvest. Other good, these are insanely expensive. Look at these. Uh, these are for minions, and they're like 11.3x. And the renewal, Rotten Claws, Vicious Bite. Vicious Bite gives multi to minions. Renewal gives double damage. This is for like physical minion builds. And uh, Vicious Bite gives crit. Sorry, Rotten Claws gives maim. Yeah, this is for fizz minions. And you roll this by doing real critical, because Vicious Bite is the only crit tag, and you can just force it every time, and it's kind of low weight, so you want to reroll critical for these. And you can also roll Renewal, Vicious Bite, Feasting Fiends. Renewal, Vicious Bite, and Feasting Fiends if you want more sustain on your minions. And this is the same, reroll critical as well. And the prices for these is like 6 exalts. I know people that are farming so much currency just spamming random harvest crafts on these. It's insane. The fire ones, there's not many good notables for the fire ones. The only three that are like better than the others are Burning Bright. This is really good for damage over time builds. Cremator. If you eat something and you ignite, they explode. I mean, they don't explode. They just destroy the corpses, so you don't actually die to on death effects. And Master of Fire, I think, is really good for Righteous Fire. You don't really have like a good way to apply exposure, so if you just run and around you everything's exposed, it's basically like it's what like best in slot for Righteous Fire, I think. Um, these are 2x for the really easy to roll one, and for these ones that are slightly harder. They should be even more expensive. Yeah, they're like 8 exalts, 14. There's not many listed either. There's three only. How you roll these? You just reroll life with harvest, or you can also sorry reroll fire. Sorry, or you can also use scorch fossil. And the last thing, the last clusters that I think are really worth rolling for is staff clusters, because there's a new build that Ru created, which is Berserker Self Seal, and it's becoming really meta. And you need Fortify, Leech, and if you want, you can also use Weight of Advantage, but you usually want these two, which is Fortify and Leech, and you want another mod to push them in the front. So if you look at these, they're so expensive. They're like 11 exalts minimum. They sell like crazy. Like Tuna gave me some of these to sell, and they were selling for 10x, 10x, 11x or more. They're really good. Like right now, they're selling because a lot of people want them. And how to get these? You just reroll attack, reroll life, or reroll speed, or you can also use rated or pristine maybe. If you look at the weights, made Mace of Scepters and Staves, Overlord is an attack mod, and it's a low weight, so it's gonna be hard to roll Overlord. You could also alteration spam for this one, or you can just try to scour binding until you hit Overlord. Um, the second mod is it was Feed the Fury. Yep, Feed the Fury. It's attack, life, speed. So you can use Reforge speed, Reforge life, Reforge attack. They should all be good. Uh, I'm gonna do. I'm gonna continue this and do the medium cluster and the small clusters. And if I come up with any other combination that I remember, like if I remember any other combination, I'll just add them to the spreadsheet, even for the largest. So every time you go in an harvest, you can just bring clusters with you, and you can make like crazy amounts of currency just by spamming rerolls that you wouldn't use otherwise. Thanks for watching the video, and see you in the next one.